Okay, for question 2, this is the given circuit diagram. You are asked to compute the total resistance RT since by the source Vs here. Okay, next you find voltage Vx, which is this A to B, and Iy is the current here flowing through this short circuit, and IR1, current flowing through resistor R1. Okay, so for this part here, because resistor R1 is shorted by this wire, okay, so the resistance here is equivalent to 0 ohm. Okay, so if you look at this point here, this point, this point to this point here, you have resistor R3 in parallel with R2, which is in series with R4. So R2 in series with R4 is in parallel with R3. Okay, so RT is therefore, RT is equals to R2 plus R4, the whole thing in parallel with R3. Okay, so with that, you substitute the value. R2 is 15 ohm, so 15 plus 25 in parallel with 10. Okay, 15 plus, so that will give you 40, right, in parallel with 10. So it gives you 8 ohm. Okay, so that's part A. Then part B, you're asked to find Vx. Vx is this point. This is Vx. Okay, this is Vx. The voltage drop across R4. Now you know R2 is in series with R4, and there's this voltage supply of 16 volt. Alright, so you have R2 in series with R4, and then you have this 16 volt. So you have R2, R4, and then this is Vs is 16 volt. If you look at only on the right hand side, yeah. So with this, you can apply voltage divider rule, VDR. Okay, so with VDR, Vx, which is equals to the voltage drop here, right, at this point here, Vx, here to this point, to this point, so it's Vx, right, voltage drop across the resistor R4. So here, VDR, right, so it's Vs multiplied by R4 divided by R2 plus R4. So you can apply voltage divider rule to a series circuit. Okay, series DC circuit. Therefore, you substitute the value Vs is 16 volt multiplied by R4, which is 25 ohm, divided by 15 plus 25. So that will give you 10 volt. Okay, that will give you 10 volt. For Iy, if you look at the right hand side here, on the left hand side, by Ohm's law, you know what is the voltage drop across R3. Okay, if you look at the right hand side, you have left hand side, you have Vs, and then you have R3. Okay, if you simplify the diagram, you look at the left hand side. Okay, so I have R3 here. So the voltage drop across R3 is Vs. Correct? The voltage drop across R3 is Vs. So part C, by Ohm's law, Iy equals to Vs over R3. So Vs is 16 volt divided by R3 is 10 ohm. So that gives you 1.6 amp. That's Iy. Okay, based on this diagram here. Next one is IR1. By inspection, if you look at it now, R1 has been shorted by this wire here. Okay, this straight wire here. So there shouldn't be any current flowing through R1. So IR1 is actually 0 ohm. So if you look at by applying Ohm's law, if you want to apply Ohm's law, okay, if you look at Ohm's law, it's the same, you still get 0 ohm. Ohm's law, your IR1 is equals to VR1 divided by R1. Now, because VR1 is 0 volt, okay, R1 is 20 ohm, so the current is 0 amp. Okay, by inspection, you should know that IR1 is 0 ohm because there's no current flowing through R1 anymore because of this circuit, short circuit here. Okay, so that's A to D. Check your answers.